Okay, welcome back. I'm chatting with Ajuri Ngelale, Senior Special Assistant to President Muhammadu Buhari on Public Communications, and he's also one of the spokesmen of the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council. Now, we have a number of questions. Reverend Dominic called in, and we haven't touched corruption. We've touched on why is it impossible? Why has it been impossible to fix refineries? Ada also called in, and also apologies to Femi in Abuja. I couldn't get to you fast enough, and so that call dropped. Femi in Abuja. See if you can call in again. Ada called in, and among other things, well, she medical tourism, but also fiscal federalism. How are we going to erect it? Maybe you can see how far you can go before another call comes in.
With time, yes. Let me be very brief. Thank you very much, Ada, once again for your commentary. What I would just say is, on the healthcare side, how do we address medical tourism? By being
okay, you want to start from there?
Yeah, absolutely. By being the hub of medical tourism, we actually want to be the country, not just the country that stops its citizens from going abroad. Mm-hmm. We want to be the country that other countries have their people coming to visit for medical tourism. So
but Mr. President is out of the country right now because of a medical checkup. Such a straightforward, simple thing as a medical checkup.
Well, first of all, let me just say that His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is very clear in his plan that when we, and by the way, there are sectors that Mr. President himself will tell you that whether it's the COVID-19 pandemic or whether it's two economic recessions and the limited resources available, we're even having to borrow to fund our capital budget federally, that there are definitely areas that we wish we could have done more with the limited resources and situations we had. Okay. I think healthcare is certainly one of those, if we're going to be open and honest with our people, which I try to be as often as possible. But His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has said, look, there are two major things that he's going to, this is what he's promising Nigerians for them to later hold him accountable. So listen very carefully. What he wants to do is he wants to establish local clinics in terms of primary health care. He wants to ensure that every Nigerian is within 3 kilometers of a primary healthcare facility. Some of them will be stationary, normal brick and mortar primary healthcare centers. Others will be what we're going to engage in is establishing mobile primary healthcare centers that can actually be on the move. That's going to be a major innovation of his government. Okay. Secondly, he has promised that he's going to totally refurbish and reconstruct a general hospital and every local government area of the Federation. He has also promised to establish a tertiary healthcare institution in every state of the Federation. And lastly, he has promised that he's going to establish a world-class center of excellence. We're talking of a world-class hospital in every geopolitical zone of this country, so that no matter where you live in the country, you will have proximate access to the best of international healthcare. And we're saying we're not targeting just domestic consumers. We're targeting international, the West African sub-region.
That's the medical hub.
Absolutely,
you were talking
to come
about.
to the medical hub and spend their money in Nigeria.
I've got to bring Felix in.
Absolutely.
Felix has been holding on in Abuja. Good morning, Felix. Felix in Abuja.
Thank you. My name is Felix Achille.
Good morning. Please go ahead.
Yes, I just want to ask Ngelale just a question or two about agriculture.
Okay, yeah. Let's go there then.
Yeah.
A question, maybe one, please. Okay. Go ahead, Sha. Go ahead.
This government from onset banned the importation of rice, in particular, into this country, giving us ideas that by empowering the Nigerian farmer, the local farmers, we are going to have rice substantially and affordable for the consumers. But this is almost 8 years down the line. Can Ngelale tell us how this policy that they embarked on by banning importation of rice and empowering the so-called local farmers, the selected local farmers, they say they empowered, how does that affect the Nigerian market? What is the cost of rice now in the market? Okay. It's not about speaking on the national TV and speaking effective English, confusing us that the government has tried by making local production more than it used to be, and the cost of rice now is far, far more than when we imported. You see that the importation is better than empowering the selected farmers that you claim that you empowered?
Okay, Felix, excellent question. Thank you very much. I think just that one is sufficient.
Yes.
Yes, the right situation. Yeah. Everybody, you don't even need to be an expert for that, for people to be commenting on it.
Thank you very much. You know, Felix, let me just say that the logic and content of your question is very well received, and I'll answer you directly, but I think we can do so in a much more respectful manner. Let me say, first of all, that the reason why I took time earlier in the conversation, hopefully you were tuned in earlier when I was talking about agricultural reforms, one of the major things that I referred to is commodity boards. Why was that important? Because it deals with the very problem that you're mentioning. It is one thing to do what we have done, which is to empower our local producers to massively produce various staple items and commodities, not just for domestic consumption, but also eventually for international export when we have a lot of surplus. But a major problem that we have been very open with our people about is the fact that you have some unpatriotic Nigerian farmers who have benefited fully from Nigerian government policy interventions, such as the Anchor Borrowers Program, where we have not only provided over 1 trillion naira to millions of farmers across this country, but we have also given them seedlings, the actual seedlings that they use to plant to get the produce they're talking about. They get money, they get seedlings, they even get supplements, actual equipment to be able to till their lands and all of that. We have gone through all of that. Now, the next level of this thing, to go deeper, right, is to ensure that these commodity boards are established so that we have a basic minimum price threshold to ensure that there is a fair level of profit being guaranteed to our producers so that they will not be taking these goods across the border and selling for more money. The reason why we have a situation where, like you mentioned, even despite our best efforts, you have some of these pricing issues. There are two factors, which I mentioned earlier in the conversation, which is the lack of these commodity boards on the one hand, and on the other hand, lack of storage facilities for the various commodities, which leads to a lot of produce being spoiled, which leads to greater scarcity. And of course, when there's scarcity, the value of the commodities do what? They go up.
Okay,
so these are the ways in which we're going to deal with that through the policy interventions that are being presented by His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu. Okay. And that's why Nigerians should vote for continuity.
Ajuri. Thank you very, very much. Elder David is waiting to join the program. Good morning to you, sir. Elder David in Alimosho.
God will bless you.
Amen. And he will bless you too.
God bless you, Ajuri. Thank you very much.
Amen. Bless you too.
That man that was in AIT in those days. I am very happy. I always like this man program whenever I come on the air. Yeah, because he was in AIT. I know him very well. And everything said, I listened to him.
And channels, if we're going to go there.
Tinubu.
Yes.
It's very correct. There is no lie there. We must remember, I work in the railways. Go and look at the face of railways today, the best in Africa. Then when you talk of the second Niger bridge, it started a time of Zik. Today, what is it now? It's almost completed. Don't doubt this government.
Yeah,
let me tell you, for just
we didn't mention it, but that's under infrastructure.
What Buhari has done, in fact, we should credit this government that they came in 2015. Yes, continuity. Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu will be there to continue the good work this government have done. Everything said is correct. I quite believe it. Then when you are talking of refinery, yeah, it's going to work. That of Dangote is already there. It will take off. Then that of product, yeah, they are correct. But they started in 1999. Do they succeed? I joined PDP 31st October 1990, and I left 2014 because I know they will never come back. And we thank God they will not come back. God will bless Nigeria. God will bless PDP. God will bless you and bless me. And bless the young man that is there. Everything said is correct.
Thank you very much for calling in, Elder David from Alimosho. Appreciate your call.
You know, Yori, one of the things that, and thank you very much, Elder David, for your encouraging comments. You know, one of the things that I enjoy about my job is that people will give you very harsh criticisms when they feel it's appropriate, and they will also give you credit when they feel it's appropriate. So thank you very much. I appreciate both because they make me better. Let me just say very quickly that on the issue of infrastructure, when we talk about the choice in the next election, and I want to be very, very clear about this, is you have, and I've asked any PDP member I've ever had the privilege of debating with, The question, in 16 years, can you just name one federal expressway of 100 kilometers or even 70 kilometers or more that you started construction on and completed construction on? Can you name a seaport? Can you name an airport? Can you name just any physical infrastructure, railway line that you started construction on and completed?
You know, I wasn't keeping tabs myself, but you're implying in there that there is no, they cannot mention.
I'm not even implying. I'm implying. I am stating categorically that they cannot.
They never completed.
Empirically, they cannot say that
any
they completed
100 kilometer.
Any 100 kilometer. How shameful! 16 years. That's double the time with double the money, and they took out as much debt in the 4 years from 2011 to 2015 as we took out from 2015 to 2022. And we have, look at what we've done in contrast. We have 3 major railways that can be attributed to President Muhammadu Buhari. He completed the Abuja-Kaduna railway segment, which it took them 16 years to get to 80%. We completed that one. Even let's give that one to them. They couldn't complete it in 16 years. We completed it. Then we now took the 326-kilometer Wari Itakpe-Ajeokuta rail line. 326 kilometers of high-speed standard gauge that was abandoned since 1987. We completed it in 2020, invested massively, completed it. People are using it today. In fact, we even transported the pipes for the AKK Ajeokuta Kaduna Kano gas pipeline on that railway corridor. Then, in addition to that, the Lagos-Ibadan railway, we promised Nigerians in 2015 that we were going to do that rail line. What did they tell us? Has any government in the history of Nigeria started and completed a rail line in our history? It's not possible. Why are you people promising what you cannot do?
Okay.
We started that rail line in 2017, finished it in 2021, and now our Nigerians are enjoying it.
One moment.
And then we've already started on
pardon.
Kaduna Kano.
One moment, please, because I'm holding up Mazi Okoroafo in Arochukwu. Good morning to you, Mazi.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, my brother Ajuri.
Good morning.
Honestly speaking, when my young man Ajuri he's talking authoritatively with facts. I think after Tinubu by 2023, I think my brother, you come on board as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
You're wishing heavy work on me, or I beg, please, I beg.
You have to be back on with prayers. At least you come after 8 years. Now, that the regulator look at this, my brother.
God bless you. Thank you.
Now, you have seen what is happening in the Nigerian educational sector. The lecturers have been told to go back to school. Some schools have reopened. Some schools have started, like in Suka, will be writing an exam, I think, any minute from now. And some universities, the children are going back to school. Not tonight. Now, as a president of this country, because you are representing Tinubu there, what do you think you will do by that 2023? So that all this lingering of strike, and even the state universities that refuses to pay their lecturers and make school function, what do you think that will come on board by that 2023? I'm just telling you, because when you talk, we jot it down. I think we use that a history as a notebook. So tell us, what do you think that will do? Because when you look at the Jagaban of Tinubu, when he was a governor, honestly, I used to tell people, if other governors in this country borrow their leave from Tinubu, bringing these people outside Yoruba in their cabinet, all these issues of religion, tribalism, nepotism, then it will not happen. Good morning, my brother. Carry on.
Good morning, Mazi Okora from Arochukwu. Thank you.
The great Mazi, I beg you, please. That work. I know the Sikamo. See, this is the thing. The education system, and this is another area where I believe any genuine progressive would wish that we had perhaps done more in the last 7 years, is education. We've done a lot in terms of tertiary education investments, in terms of brick and mortar and building buildings, but there's much more that needs to be done in terms of the nitty-gritty, which is why you give credit to President Muhammadu Buhari for substantively ending the ASU strike. We believe that this is going to be a sustainable way out based on the agreements that were struck. This is a very sustainable end. It's not a temporary end. Secondly, I think it's important to recognize that obviously we have just a few months left in this administration. So the focus is now, what is His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu telling you he's going to do in terms of education? There are a few very critical things that I think we need to appreciate. His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is saying, look, we need to actively coordinate between the private sector and our university, not just our university, but our academic, our education system at large. We cannot see it as fundamentally a public sector affair. That what he's doing is he's going to set up a special presidential education committee comprised of not just the education sector officials and the schools, but we're also going to have on those committees high-level private sector players, CEOs of banks, CEOs of various companies, manufacturing, and you name it, who are now going to be charged with developing a new 21st century curricula that will tailor the curriculum to the skills that are required for the 21st century knowledge-based global economy. So this is what we're focused on. We don't want to now just be giving certificates to our children so that they will say they're a graduate and go into NYSC and eventually go into no job. That's not what we want. What we want are educated graduates who are specifically suited with the knowledge sets required by the institutions that will be seeking to hire them based on that knowledge set. So that is one major effort. Another one is he's emphasizing STEM education, saying, look, in our schools, we're going to, first of all, create vocational centers of excellence across all states of the Federation, where we're going to be engaging Nigerians who did not necessarily have an opportunity to go to secondary school, who are going to go to these vocational centers of excellence, learn robotics, design thinking, and IT-related animation, and IT-related skill sets. Widen the sphere so that you don't need a university education or even an NYSC clearance certificate to be able to be an effective contributor as an entrepreneur and the like to add value to the nation's economy.
Let me bring on Tayo in Ilorin. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good morning to your guest as well.
Ajuri Ngelale.
Thank you. Good morning, my brother.
Mr. Ngelale, my own contribution to this is that JAM first of all, needs to be knocked out. JAM is nonsense. Every university has their own criteria of getting people in. And another way for Nigeria, in America, is 80% of private companies. People work there. 20% is government. It's vice versa in Nigeria. That's why when they strike, everything go down. The economy go worse. When you work in private sector, you get paid for what you work. But in the government, it's trouble. And when they want to strike, the president get involved and get one of the business people get involved. You agree on it. The money they're going to lose. The government make it a tax break within the government and the company. They share it. It's vice versa in Nigeria. How do you ever find anybody even pay tax? They tell you, you got to pay tax. You got to pay tax. Oh, government didn't do this. Government did that. People saying that don't even pay the damn tax.
Okay.
That's the problem.
All right. I want to thank you very much, Tayo, for me learning. Time, I would have let you continue, but time is against us. And we still have some outstanding things that we want to talk about.
Fiscal federalism.
Fiscal federalism, for example. Even Reverend Dominic from Alimosho, we cleared the why is it impossible to fix refineries, but we didn't get to corruption. But okay, I don't know. Maybe we just
I can just
that one will do.
Summarize.
But do you have any thoughts on fiscal federalism,
absolutely,
which is a pet subject of the Southwest as a matter of fact?
100%. First of all, on the corruption question, he asked specifically about the release of two former detained, incarcerated governors, former governors. It's important to note that in the first place, these were APC members who were incarcerated under an APC government. You cannot name any such circumstance under any previous administration and their party. That's number one. Number two, the process of their release was not some executive fiat where President Muhammadu Buhari said, I want those two party loyalists to be removed from jail. That is not what happened. There was an independent process set up where you had a committee of various members of the society that came together, studied what it is their offenses were and how long they had already been incarcerated, factored in their health considerations and all of that, and made a recommendation that they be released. The president read all of the analysis and essentially approved those recommendations.
Okay.
So everything is by due process. But you asked the question about federalism.
We've run out of time.
Unfortunately.
So you have a minute. See,
Okay.
See if you can do a minute on fiscal federalism. I think that was from Ada.
Unlike Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu has a very clear record of actually implementing the enhancement of state power, fiscal federalism, restructuring within his time as governor of Lagos State. What he's bringing to bear, what he's pledging to bring to bear as president is he's saying, look, we are going to devote more resources to the states and give them more powers over more sectors to be able to develop. And that's going to be a major priority of his administration. So when we talk about restructuring, it's not some esoteric abstraction like what we hear from certain campaigners. It is a very precise and detailed plan of what needs to go to the states and what they require in terms of more empowerment to be able to achieve that. I just wish we would have been able to go into the student loan program that is promising Nigerian students from poor families that they can attend the university.
For that one.
Yes. So this is a very important education measure that His Excellency Asiwaju Bola Tinubu is bringing to bear. Is a new student loan program where he's going to factor in the household incomes of Nigerians from every state of the federation to say, look, the Nigerian government will support you, particularly if you're ready to study STEM subjects. This is, mathematics, robotics, chemistry, physics, and the like. If you're ready to go into those very high-value studies, we're going to support you with student loans that you can afford to repay when you leave. In fact, he's even calibrated it down to the level that even if you don't have a job immediately, we are going to be very understanding about giving long moratoriums so that Nigerians can pay when they have a job to repay.
Excellent, Ajuri. You did great in trying to fix that into such a
There's so much
space.
He's going to do for this country. He will do very well as president.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken 80 pages to articulate.
Absolutely.
So I want to thank you very much for coming along.
Thank you for having me.
Ajuri Ngelale is the Senior Special Assistant to President Buhari on public communication. He's also one of the spokespeople of the Tinubu Shetima Campaign Council. Thank you very much, Ajuri, for coming on. And that's our program today. Thank you for being with us. And please join us again on Monday for a fresh edition. I am Yori Folani. Do have a fantastic weekend.